Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another Hammer Productions night. Tonight, I will be reviewing The Terror of the Tongs, released in 1961, directed by Anthony Bushell, from a screenplay by Jimmy Sangster, and starring Christopher Lee, Geoffrey Toone, Yvonne Monlaur, Marne Maitland, Brian Worth, Ewen Solon, Roger Delgado, Burt Kwouk, Richard Leech, Charles Lloyd-Pack, Maria Burke, and Barbara Brown. Now this is a quasi-remake of The Stranglers of Bombay from 1959, which I've already reviewed on this channel. The only difference with this one is that they changed the location and the villains from India to Hong Kong. So instead of having these real characters of the Tongs as your villains in here that really happened and were real, this film replaces that with these fictional Tongs, literally Tongs, which call themselves the Red Dragon. And I don't think the story works as well when you transport it from India to Hong Kong. Christopher Lee as Chung King is... When I saw promotional images of this, I thought this could be the setup for what he eventually did with the Fu Manchu character. But upon seeing the actual film, yes, the makeup is very well done. It's really good. Christopher Lee's performance is not so much so. This just feels like Christopher Lee just doing his regular voice as this Asian character. And it just seems so weird hearing his normal voice in this Asian supposed role.
But I'm of the opinion that he passed that paper on before he landed. That paper must be found.
Whereas when he played Fu Manchu in the Fu Manchu films a couple of years later, he actually did a Asian accent in here, and he did it really well.
I'll do exactly as I say. Or do you wish me to bring your daughter out of her trance and tell her what she has just done?
And that's what made me not look at that character and think, oh, this is a, British actor playing an Asian. This should not be done. This is weird. But Terror of the Tongs does have a lot of that in here, because, you do have a lot of actual Asian characters being played by British, or in the case of Yvonne Monlaur, a French actress playing an Asian girl. Now, her character of Lee, I think with her French accent and the makeup that they do on her, I think she's pretty good in this. This is only the second film I've ever seen Yvonne Monlaur in, other than Brides of Dracula, in which she played I don't know if she was supposed to be playing a French character or whether she was actually just playing a British character in that one. But she is really believable in this as this Asian character. And, I don't agree with the fact of, these films doing this, but I was ready to defend Christopher Lee being cast in that role because, the only actor around at this time that was a pretty good actor that could have been cast in that role. Not even him, he might have been too young, would have been Mako Mako had already started working in films at this point and was a true Asian actor, playing in American films. And he's a great actor. And, he would go on to have an excellent career. Like I said, maybe he would have been too young to have played this character, but seeing as how Christopher Lee just basically came in here and was Christopher Lee with Asian makeup on, I think it would have been much better to have cast someone like Mako in that role. The only actual Asian actor in this film that I could see, other than maybe a few extras here and there possibly, was Burt Kwouk as Mr. Ming. Now, I know he's a British actor, but I think he was of Asian parents and everything, being born in England and everything and stuff. So he's still got that natural, Asian look to him, and he's a really good actor. He's another one that they possibly could have just thrown in there as the lead villain in this, and he would have worked. But he just plays a smaller role very early in the film to set up the events of what happens. But my problem with this film is not so much Christopher Lee just doing his own voice as this character. My problem with this film is, as I said before, I do not think the story works when you take it from India and you transport it to Hong Kong. They don't change much with it, but it doesn't have the same resonance as it had with The Stranglers of Bombay, due to the fact that The Stranglers of Bombay was based on factual events that happened. Yes, they weren't real people involved in that were shown, but they were events that actually happened. So it was loosely based on real events, but it was really good and it was really well done. Here, you were taking those real life events and you were turning them into a fictional story taking place in Hong Kong. And I just don't think it works as well. They even have the same thing happen where they have a traitor in the midst, where Brian Worth's character of Harcourt is working alongside Christopher Lee's Red Dragon Tongs. And it's just, if you wanted to have that in there, I think they had a perfect setup for that by having Yvonne Monlaur as Lee. She is working with the Tongs early in the story, and she just suddenly pivots to wanting to work with Geoffrey Toone's Captain Sale and help him. And it just doesn't really work. Because she's, her explanation for it is kind of iffy too. But I think it would have worked a lot better if she would have gained his confidence, become, almost like this lover figure for him, which she does in the story. And then it turns out she is working with the Red Dragon Tongs. So I think that would have worked a lot better if she had just been the turncoat instead of having Harcourt be the one, because you had the setup that was perfect for it, but they botched it there. But I believe this might be my first film that I'm seeing with Geoffrey Toone, as he's playing Captain Sale, and I thought he was pretty good in this. I think he deserved a better story for this, because like I said, I don't think this works as well being transplanted to Hong Kong. And even though I really like the fact that this was the prelude to Christopher Lee becoming Fu Manchu, which was a much better performance than this one, I think this was a missed opportunity. So my final review of The Terror of the Tongs from 1961. I am going to give this film a 7.2 out of 10. I mean, it is, it's a decent enough story the way they do it, and it's well enough acted, but still having all these British actors playing Asian characters is a little off-putting, especially whenever one that you know can play a very good Asian character with Christopher Lee, and he just does his normal deep voice and doesn't do that Asian voice like he did when he played Fu Manchu. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree? Let me know in those comments down below. And, as usual, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. Well, that's it for another Hammer Productions night. If you missed last week's Hammer Productions night, check out the link up here to get caught up on that one. Or if you missed any of the other Hammer Productions night, be sure and check out the playlist right here to get caught up on any of them that you have missed.